Here in America, Toyota's SUV lineup is pretty comprehensive. I mean, take a look at the company's bestseller, the RAV4. With over 400,000 units sold every year in the States, it is the best-selling passenger vehicle right behind the top-selling pickup trucks. Now, with such high volume, Toyota saw an opportunity to pull in buyers who want something smaller than a RAV4 with the Corolla Cross. This vehicle was introduced in 2022, and since then, it's been a pretty strong seller for Toyota, which is why the company introduced finally an electrified version called the Corolla Cross Hybrid for 2023. As you can see this week, Toyota has loaned me for a full week this brand new Corolla Cross XSE Hybrid. It essentially borrows the same hybrid powertrain from the just recently redesigned Prius. So we have about 30 more horsepower versus the gas-only version and up to 45 mpg. So if you guys are looking for an urban-sized SUV, but you want to go electrified, how does the brand new 2023 Corolla Cross Hybrid stack up? Stay tuned to find out. Now, because this is the hybrid version of the Corolla Cross, I thought I'd pop the hood and show you guys what's powering this thing. Now, you can still get your choice between two engines. There's the base gas engine, which was first introduced last year, but now there's also this hybrid model, which borrows its powertrain from the new Prius. And because of that borrowing from the Prius, we now have a 2-liter gasoline 4-cylinder engine that's naturally aspirated. It delivers around 150 horsepower on its own, but it's paired up with up to 3 electric motors. There's 2 in the front, and then a separate rear electric motor giving this vehicle all-wheel drive. When you combine the outputs of the gas engine and the electric componentry, you get a total of 196 horsepower. That's almost 30 more versus the base engine and the non-hybrid powertrain. Unfortunately, we don't have a torque figure. Toyota doesn't quote a combined torque figure for their hybrid powertrains. It has an eCVT delivering power to all 4 wheels. It's an all-wheel drive system that has a separate electric motor on the rear axle. And then fuel economy is very impressive. It's rated at 45 in the city, 38 on the highway. That's designed to run on regular gas. This has about a 13-gallon gas tank, so you're looking at over 400 plus miles of range on a full tank of fuel. Now, this vehicle can still surprisingly tow. It'll tow a maximum of 1,500 pounds. And Toyota doesn't quote a 0 to 60 time. We got 6.9 seconds in our initial testing. We'll see what we can get out here in our home area. And then in terms of the curb weight, this weighs in at just over 3,300 pounds. So it's about a couple hundred pounds heavier versus the gas-only variant. But closing the hood, let's go ahead and just take a look at the styling updates that Toyota has made for the Corolla Cross, especially the hybrid version. You can see it gets its own unique front fascia, which I actually think makes this car look a little bit better. Personally, I do think that the RAV4 is still their best looking vehicle. The grille, as you can see with the Corolla Cross Hybrid, is different. It's a little bit smaller. It's also closed off. You have the Toyota logo there, which hides the radar sensor for the adaptive cruise control. I apologize for all the bugs over the front end. I drove this vehicle at night the other day, and you can see here there is some functional openings here because there's still a gas engine that requires some cooling. And then all Corolla Cross hybrids come standard with full LED headlights, with LED daytime running lights and turn signals, and then you also have LED fog lights. That's not something that I can say about the new Kia Seltos. You still have to go for the higher trim to actually get LED headlights. Toyota at least makes it standard across the board. The Corolla Cross comes in either SE, XSE, or this XSE Premium that I'm showing you. The XSE is the only way you can get the 2-tone roofs. You can see I have the nice bright red color with the black contrasting roof. It's a $500 upcharge. It definitely makes for a more handsome looking vehicle. And then looking around the side profile, you can see at 176 inches long, this is about the same size as a Subaru Crosstrek, and it's about 6 inches shorter than something like the Toyota RAV4 hybrid. You can see all Corolla Crosses have just over 8 inches of ground clearance. They have a fully independent suspension, and then the XSE comes with these rather attractively styled 18-inch wheels, riding on a 225/55 R18 tire. You have 4-wheel disc brakes with a single piston floating caliper at the front, and then you can see it's an SUV, so they kind of gave it that gray plastic cladding around the wheel arches along the side skirts. The XSE also includes black painted side mirrors with integrated turn signals, and then you can see a sunroof is optional along with these roof rails, which are a dealer accessory, but Toyota does not offer a pano roof. You can see I'm surprised the chrome trim here wasn't blacked out, but you can see the Corolla Cross kind of reminds people along the rear there that this is a Corolla Cross. I do like how the shape of this vehicle is a little bit more boxy, and I also like how Toyota decided to give us rear LED taillights, or at least it's a combination. You can see the turn signal and the brake light, and the tail light is an LED. I believe the reverse light is just an incandescent. The XSE trim includes some blacked out badging, although that might be part of a dealer accessory. I can't remember off the top of my head. No visible exhaust tips. Instead, there's just a single exhaust that's kind of hidden underneath the rear bumper. My tester also has like a dealer accessory here with the Corolla Cross bumper protector, and then an unpainted portion down here. You can see the Corolla Cross as well is one of the only vehicles in the segment that offers a power liftgate. This feature is not even available on the Crosstrek. It is part of an optional charge, a package for $2,700 that my tester has. And when you open up the cargo area, you can see there's around 21 cubic feet of storage space. If you fold down those seats, Toyota doesn't quote a number for maximum cargo, but most vehicles in the segment have around 50 to 60 cubic feet, and this feels roughly about the same. You can see underneath the floor here, it doesn't have a spare, it just has a fix-a-flat kit with an air compressor, but overall, this is not obviously as spacious as the RAV4, but it's certainly going to give you more space versus Toyota's previous offering, which was the CHR. So let's go ahead and move on to the interior of the Corolla Cross Hybrid. Before we get inside, however, here is the key fob for the vehicle. You can see this is the current Toyota key fob. It comes standard with the company's smart key access system, which has remote start if you push the lock button 3 times in sequence. You have lock, unlock, power liftgate, and panic. You can also access your vehicle through your smartphone if you guys have access to the Toyota Connected Services app. Now you can see door handle traditional. You touch that little area here that locks the door, and then touch the back of the door handle with the key fob on you. That will unlock the door for you. And then you can see with the XSE trim, you basically get a Softex interior. It's a black Softex interior with some of the contrasting colors. You have like this really unique insert. It's a faux leather with this kind of like cloth material, leatherette material with an 8-way power driver's seat. No 2-way passenger or memory seat system. And these seats are also only heated, so you can't get memory seats or cooled seats, but you can at least still get a power driver's seat, which is nice. The passenger seat, however, is a 4-way manual. That is, again, pretty much expected in this segment of vehicle. You can see this material here is soft touch injection molded plastic. With faux stitching, you have one touch for the front windows and for the rear. So actually all 4 are one touch. The driver window is illuminated and they feel pretty much the standard Toyota quality switchgear. Hard touch plastic down here. My tester also has the JBL 9-speaker stereo, which sounds okay. It's nothing super special. It's certainly worth it if you guys are an audiophile and you're willing to spend the extra cash. Now stepping inside, you can see it has a nice easy step in height with that 8 inches of ground clearance when I shut the door. The door has a relatively solid sounding thunk, not quite as nice as what I've heard from something like the Crosstrek. Now, start the vehicle up, you can see button is right here. When you fire it up, it's a hybrid, so it just kind of whirs to life and it says ready in the instrument cluster, which by the way, that's a 7-inch LCD display. You cannot get the fully digital 10.25-inch display or 12-inch display like you can in some of the bigger Toyotas. And then you can see here Toyota upgraded the audio system here for 2023. This is their latest Toyota audio multimedia interface with an 8-inch touchscreen, a volume knob here. As you can also see, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto over-the-air updates. It's nice. The software is nice. It's just the screen size is small. I don't like all the unused black real estate here. I would have liked to see Toyota at least go to a 9-inch screen, if not the 10.25-inch display that you get in the RAV4. So again, that's a reason to go for the RAV4 instead. Up here you can see hard touch plastic here, but it's padded over here with more of that faux stitching. You have dual zone climate control, which is something you don't get in the Prius that has single zone automatic climate control. The Corolla Cross has 2-zone, which is nice. This is the same steering wheel from the Corolla as well. You can see it's got a manual tilt telescoping with a good amount of adjustability and range. I wasn't expecting to find paddle shifters. You can control the way that screen looks from these buttons here. Your cruise control from the Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 is standard right there. The horn sounds really puny and dinky, so I don't love the sound of that. But you can see over here you have your 2-stage heated seats, no cooled seats, but you have a USB charging port. There's a wireless phone charging pad here, but I will say that it's useless. My iPhone 14 Pro Max sort of fits in here, but I could never get the wireless charger to work with my case. That is not the case if I tried in other vehicles, so I think Toyota needs to redo whoever their supplier is for the wireless charging mat. It just doesn't work very well. Drive mode selectors over here, you can see there's a sport, normal, and an eco setting. There's also an EV mode here. At very low speeds, this vehicle will drive on electric power alone, but you have to be really gentle on the gas. Put the transmission into reverse. You can see there's your backup camera. It has trajectory, it has parking sensors, but no full 360 camera. That's something you can get on the RAV4, but not this vehicle. Surprised to see a very traditional shifter, which is kind of nice if you guys prefer that. Electronic parking brake here. Lots of piano black plastic with cup holders. Padded center console area here with another USB and a power outlet. It's a little bit on the small side. Remember, this is a small car. The seats, thankfully, are pretty comfortable and supportive. Love the way they look, especially on the XSE trim. But again, you can't get a power passenger seat or cooled seats or memory seats. Keep that in mind. The glove compartment, you can see, is damped. It's a bin style, not lined with felt. Auto dimming rear view mirror on this trim, but no digital camera rear view mirror. You have some LED map lighting and some LED accent lighting in the floor panels and in the door handles. That's part of the XSE package, which is nice. No heads up display. And then above me here, you can see just a standard sunroof with a woven material, or with a cardboard material for the roof liner. But overall, the front seat area is pretty comparable to a Toyota Corolla, and that's kind of the biggest weak point, is it doesn't have the greatest in terms of a wow factor, not like the new Kia Seltos, but the software is nice and there's still a decent amount of space. And it also feels relatively well put together considering the price tag. But let's go ahead and hop into the back seat, because this is another area where the Corolla Cross Hybrid does fall short compared to rivals. You have only 32 inches of legroom back here, which is like a solid 3 to 4 inches less than some competitors. You have hard touch plastic here with more of that faux stitching, so it's not as soft as in the front, padded down here at least. And then these seats do fold down. You can fold them down and it gives you almost a flat load floor to expand the cargo area. But basically this is where I'd have the front seat for my driving position. As I get back here, shut the door, you can see legroom space is fine. There's good foot space, not a flat floor here. You do have rear seat air vents, thankfully, and 2 USB-C charging ports. You have 1 storage cubby over here. And then in terms of the headroom space, you can see the sunroof does eat in a little bit into it, but at 5'7", I find it to be okay. Back here, there's also, again, this will seat 5 people. There's an armrest that folds down and gives you 2 cup holders, which is nice. But overall, if you need this most spacious back seat, the Kia Seltos, even the Subaru Crosstrek and HR-V, definitely has this vehicle beat. So here we are back in the 2023 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid. Now, it's been a little over a year since Toyota introduced this model, and we knew that a hybrid version was coming. When I first had a chance to drive the hybrid model maybe 2 months ago, I actually really liked it a lot. It fixed a lot of the issues that I had with the non-hybrid, and I think in this segment, this is the car to get because it's the only hybrid that you can get. Everything else there, or the Crosstrek was a plug-in hybrid, but they don't offer that anymore. Everything else is just a conventional gas car, so that gives Toyota something unique and something amazingly efficient. Now, the model that I'm driving is the XSE version. We have the same powertrain from the new Prius, which means 196 horsepower from the newest generation of their hybrid Synergy drive. I got 6.9 seconds when I tested this vehicle out in California, but now that I have this vehicle back home, let's see what I can get on this usual stretch of road. I think I got 6.7 in the Prius, so it's in sport. We'll brake torque it. It actually spins the tires. That's hilarious. Even though this car is all-wheel drive. All right, 7.15 seconds there. I wasn't expecting it to be slower. However, the wheel spin probably did cost us maybe a tenth or two. So we'll try it again a couple more times and see if we can get something closer to that 6.9. But again, vehicles in this space are slow. Like the HR-V is a dog. That car takes like 11 seconds almost to get to 60. The Crosstrek with the 2.5 is around the mid 7-second range. I just tested the Kia Seltos, the refreshed model with its turbo and 8-speed auto. That also was like a 6.9 second sprint. So this is still gonna be among the quickest that you'll find in this space. However, because it's a hybrid, it also will be one of the most fuel efficient because this is rated to get 45 in the city and like 38 in the highway, which we'll talk about the fuel economy later on. But let's try it on this stretch of road. This time I'm not gonna brake torque it. We're just gonna floor it. It's still in sport mode. Remember, this vehicle is all-wheel drive. It has an eCVT, and we'll just put our foot down here. No wheel spin this time. 7.9 seconds here, 7.99. So you're gonna notice that in day-to-day driving, when you're not brake torquing it, obviously, it should be around a high 7 to maybe low 8-second car in the real world, which is still perfectly acceptable. We'll try it on one more place up ahead and see if we can get, we can break that 7-second barrier. But what I am noticing about this car is perhaps I just didn't drive it as aggressively out in California. The engine it seems louder than I remembered. I mean, the new Prius, which I had a couple of weeks ago, that has the same powertrain. It was a front-wheel drive version, however, and I don't remember it being quite as loud as this. And I put my foot down, you can feel and you can hear the engine. It's just noisy, and you can also feel some vibration coming through the pedals and the shifter. I think Toyota probably added more sound deadening in the Prius. They wanted to make it a little bit more refined. The Corolla Cross is technically, I believe, built on the older architecture, and you feel a little bit more noise. You hear a lot more noise, so it's not a very pleasant sound. Is it noisier versus the 2-liter? The base 2-liter without the hybrid powertrain? I'm not sure. I'd have to drive the two vehicles back to back, but you definitely notice that this is significantly faster. I mean, this powertrain has about almost 30 more horsepower than the base non-hybrid Corolla Cross, so it's still kind of a win-win. And then most of the times, most of you are just going to drive it probably, you know, at mid to a quarter throttle, and you're not going to hear as much noise as when you put your foot down completely. I'm just doing that for demonstration purposes. This vehicle, in terms of handling, doesn't feel sporty, even though this car has an XSE badge on it. The steering is very light and numb, devoid of feel. The body, the suspension feels very soft as well. You kind of feel the body roll in this vehicle, and that kind of translates and gives you a car that doesn't feel quite as athletic as I would like it to. The Seltos that I just drove felt a little bit more sportier. Even a Crosstrek feels more sporty, but here, just accelerating up to mid speeds here, it still is a little noisy. I'm not particularly in love with how noisy the engine is, but we'll try out the different drive modes later on and see if that makes a difference. But just cruising along, that softer suspension does give you a better ride quality, which is nice. And the vehicle, when you don't hear the engine buzzing away, it actually is relatively quiet in here. Not much in terms of road noise. A little bit of wind noise, but it's not horrible. I've definitely heard worse in this segment. So let's try it again here. We're gonna brake torque it. A little bit of wheel spin there, but not as bad as before. This felt a little faster this time. Foots to the floor, 7.18. So yeah, I don't know what happened in California. The one I drove was a really early pre-production car. It was a little faster than this. I got 6.9, so 7.1, 7.2, certainly nothing to sneeze at. It's very quick for the segment, and in the real world, keep in mind, you're gonna be dealing with a car that feels even faster. But I switched the drive mode into normal here. So we'll just accelerate normally up to speed. You can hear, I can feel the vibration of the engine through the pedals, which I don't love, but it gets up to speed just fine. It's responsive. The eCVT with the electric motor, this vehicle actually does have the ability to kind of power along an EV only at very low speeds. It's not a full hybrid, but there is an EV mode here. And when you are driving around in traffic, bumper to bumper traffic, or in a parking lot speed, it will drive around in EV mode. Like right now, the engine is off and it's just kind of coasting. It'll recharge the brakes as well. And then if I'm really light on the throttle, it can accelerate very slowly in EV mode, which is also very nice. I mean, still no brainer to get the hybrid. I'm surprised to hear it's so noisy compared to literally the same powertrain that I just had in the new Prius. Now, the upside, again, to all that noise and the extra power is the fuel efficiency of the hybrid powertrain. In my week's worth of testing, I actually was averaging 41 miles to the gallon. 41 miles to the gallon is easily maybe 10 to 12 mpg better than all of the gas-powered competition. And when you couple it with like the 13.5-gallon fuel tank that this car has, you're looking at around 450 miles of range on a full tank. Now, I think in my testing, I only got around 400, but again, I've been a little bit heavier on the foot. In the city, you should be able to do 45. On the highway, this car was doing around 38 mpg. So 38 highway, 41, 42 in the city. Around town driving is excellent fuel efficiency. So really, that's what makes the Corolla Cross Hybrid super unique, is how fuel efficient it is, along with how quick it is. Is it like the best out there? No, it's not the sportiest out there. This car feels really soft and squishy, but it gives you a good, comfortable ride quality. And the engine is just dreadful at times when you're really pushing it just from the drone and the buzziness that you find. But if you're lighter on the gas, you're not going to notice it. It'll drive around in EV mode. The seats are also comfortable and supportive. They're the leatherette seats. This has Toyota Safety Sense 3.0. It's got their newest Safety Sense system, and it's standard equipment. So it has the adaptive lane keep assist, or adaptive cruise control, forward collision warning, all that stuff. And the visibility out of this vehicle is quite good, but you can't get it with the RAV4 Hybrid's upscale features like the digital camera mirror, heads-up display, cooled seats. But again, my tester, for the price point that it is, for the efficiency, for the practicality, for the space that you get, it certainly is a great deal, and it'll make you seriously consider buying that Subaru Crosstrek, because this is the only option out there, like I said, that is actually a hybrid. So after spending a full week with the hybrid version of the Corolla Cross, I am happy to report that this basically improves on all the faults that I had with the gas-only version. This vehicle is quicker, it's way more fuel efficient, it looks a lot better, and Toyota also upgraded the interior with the better infotainment system, their newest infotainment system. Sadly, however, it doesn't have the larger screen that I think it should have gotten from like the RAV4, which is a 10.25-inch display. The 8-inch screen is just looking a little bit small. In terms of interior space, this is where you might want to look at the competition like the HRV. The Crosstrek, for example, offers more backseat space and more cargo capability. The Crosstrek is also going to offer a little bit better off-road capability for those of you who prefer it. But again, for those of you who are looking for a smaller SUV than the RAV4, but you also need the efficiency. This is actually more efficient than a RAV4 as well. This is really the only game in town because it's the only full hybrid offered in this segment. Now, of course, if you guys are looking to purchase the Corolla Cross Hybrid, it is going to cost you more versus the gas-only version. This car in the base SE starts at $27,900. It's about $3,000 more than a non-hybrid, although those are available with front-wheel drive. You have to add all-wheel drive, which brings the price delta more along the lines of $1,400, which is actually very reasonable. Now, if you guys want to go to the XSE Premium, that's going to give you the two-tone look, the soft text interior, the 18-inch wheels with the sportier tuned suspension, and the availability to get like the JBL sound system that my tester has. This model will start at around 31 grand. Add $2,700 for the sunroof, the power liftgate that my tester has here, and the JBL sound, and you're looking at just over $35,500 with the destination charge. Now, $35,500 sounds like a lot of money. You could buy a RAV4 hybrid for that money, but keep in mind, if you want a fully loaded RAV4 hybrid, those are around $40,000. So this is still about $5,000 less, and it also is more efficient, and it's also smaller, like I said, by about 5 to 6 inches. So for those of you who live in the city, you want something smaller and easier to park, this is again going to be an option for you, and it's the only electrified option in the space, which is why I believe the Corolla Cross Hybrid is a super unique offering in the segment, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of people who are looking at a Crosstrek end up buying this vehicle because it just gets significantly better fuel efficiency, and it also has that electrified option. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2023 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews. Like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.